Velvet Fang Stories presents The Alpha I Was Supposed to Kill, Series 1. Viewer discretion advised. The story you are about to experience contains mature themes, fantasy violence, intense emotional situations, and language intended for a mature audience. This is a fictional work. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, places, organizations, or events is purely coincidental. Please enjoy responsibly. Copyright Velvet Fang Stories. All rights reserved.
Dessert didn't end the night. It opened it. The music softened after the ballroom finally recovered from Silas Valor, being slapped directly out of his gold loafers. The Lycan magazine immediately descended upon Silas's assistants like starving wolves. So, what does this mean for your pack, now that your alpha's son has not only been slapped out of his gold loafers, but is now the reason your pack has been banned from Roe Canyon territory? No comment? What is the severity of the facial injury caused by Alpha Kyle? Do you anticipate legal retaliation? The assistants looked spiritually exhausted while trying to escape. One assistant nearly lost a shoe, while another attempted to shield his face from a camera. Neither strategy worked. Unfortunately for them, Lycan magazine was savage, and they never stopped until they got close to the bottom of a story. Meanwhile, the ballroom slowly began recovering. Conversations spread. Clusters formed. Circles tightened. The tension that had consumed the room began loosening, one careful breath at a time. And slowly, the allied Lunas moved. Not all at once, naturally. Drawn, curious, certain, toward AhMarRah. The allied Lunas approached naturally. Not because anyone told them to, not because protocol demanded it. Because something about AhMarRah drew them in. She didn't chase attention, didn't perform for it, didn't try to impress anybody. And somehow, that made them trust her more. One Luna approached first. "You carry yourself well." Another smiled warmly. "Which pack are you from?" A third tilted her head curiously. "You don't feel unfamiliar." AhMarRah glanced briefly across the ballroom, toward Kyle. Their eyes met for the briefest moment, before she looked back at the women. "An allied pack." A pause. "I can't say much more than that." The Lunas exchanged quick glances. Not suspicious. Understanding. Through the tether, AhMarRah felt it immediately. Trust. Genuine. Unforced. One Luna smiled. "That's fair." Another reached gently toward the fabric of AhMarRah's gown. "That dress is breathtaking." "Who styled you?" "That fit is everything." "You absolutely have to come to brunch with us." Soft laughter spread through the group. Easy. Comfortable. The kind of laughter shared between women who enjoyed one another's company. Then another Luna leaned closer, excited. "And we already know who Kyle's +1 will be at the top-secret allied soiree." AhMarRah blinked. "The what?" "The top-secret soiree. Don't worry, you'll learn." The entire group burst into laughter. Even AhMarRah couldn't help smiling. Then another Luna jumped in eagerly. And we heard Kyle raving about you being the inspiration behind tonight's cuisine. Immediately, several women agreed. This was the best food I've ever had. You absolutely need to consult our chef. For brunch. No pressure. More laughter followed. The kind AhMarRah wasn't used to anymore. Warm. Welcoming. Safe. For the first time all evening, she wasn't defending herself, wasn't explaining herself, wasn't proving herself. She was simply included. Across the ballroom, someone else was watching. Too closely, too intensely, too quietly. Aeris. Across the ballroom, Aeris watched everything. Too focused, too tense, too aware. The laughter, the smiles, the easy conversation. Every Luna in the Alliance seemed completely comfortable around AhMarRah. And somehow, that irritated Aeris more than anything else that had happened tonight. Her mother noticed immediately. Go. Aeris glanced toward her. What? Go familiarize yourself with the Lunas. Lyrienne smiled smoothly, the kind of smile that looked warm from a distance and dangerous up close. If you're going to stand beside Roe Canyon one day, you should begin building those relationships now. Aeris straightened slightly, resetting herself, recovering, or trying to. Of course. She smoothed her gown, lifted her chin, restored her smile, repaired her mask, then crossed the ballroom gracefully, every step measured, every movement practiced, every expression controlled. By the time she reached the Luna circle, she looked perfectly composed. As the future Luna of Roe Canyon, the allied Lunas turned immediately, and the silence that followed lasted exactly 1 second. The what? Since when? Where's your ring? Why wasn't it announced? Did Roe Canyon approve this? Rapid fire, no hesitation, no mercy. Aeris blinked once, caught completely off guard. What? You said future Luna. When did that happen? Did Kyle ask you? Aeris felt her smile begin slipping. Well, it's more of an understanding. Between who? One Luna tilted her head slightly, confused, genuinely confused. Because clearly not him. Several nearby women immediately looked away, trying not to react, trying not to laugh, trying and failing. Because damn, Aeris felt heat climb into her face instantly. We would have heard about something like that, especially tonight. And if there was an announcement planned, we definitely would have known. The women exchanged quick glances, then almost simultaneously, their attention shifted back toward AhMarRah, back toward the woman they had actually come to speak with, as if Aeris had never entered the conversation at all. That hurt worse than open disrespect, because it wasn't loud, it wasn't cruel, it wasn't dramatic. It was elegant, intentional, and impossible to fight publicly. Aeris stood there for another moment, watching, listening, being ignored completely. Then, finally, "Excuse me." No one stopped her. No one followed. No one noticed she left. Aeris turned and walked away, too quickly, too stiffly, too embarrassed. Across the ballroom, AhMarRah noticed. So did Karlani. Oh my damn. AhMarRah tried not to smile,
Karlani wasn't nearly as successful. And somewhere behind them, the Luna Council continued their conversation, as if Aeris had never been there at all.
Aeris retreated from the Luna Circle. Grace abandoned. Confidence shattered. Humiliation followed close behind. Every step back toward the Valmorian table felt longer than the last. She could still hear the questions, still feel the confusion, still see the way their attention had shifted away from her, as if she had never existed. The moment she reached the table, her father leaned forward, public smile intact, private fury rising. "What the hell just happened?" "Daddy, they—" "Shut the fuck up, Aeris." The growl beneath his voice turned several nearby Valmorians visibly uncomfortable. Even the wolves seated closest to him suddenly found their drinks fascinating. Anything to avoid eye contact. "Every time we send you to do something as simple as keep Kayel's attention long enough for this family to strengthen our alliances, you find a way to destroy it." Aeris stiffened immediately. "I was only trying to—" "No." His eyes hardened. Cold, disappointed, dangerous. "I am so sick of you and your lackluster charm." A dangerous silence followed, one that felt worse than yelling. "If you weren't my daughter, I'd feed your sorry ass to the Kudstiff beasts, limb by limb." Aeris looked genuinely shaken now. For once, she wasn't pretending. Then Lyrienne stepped in. Smoothly, gracefully, like a blade sliding from velvet. "You are our only shot at getting this alliance between Valmorian and Roe Canyon to work." Her eyes shifted briefly across the ballroom, toward AhMarRah, toward Kayel, toward the future slipping through their fingers. The little childish matching clothes stunt between Kayel and his wench was cute. Aeris swallowed hard. But playtime, a pause, is over. Aeris lowered her eyes. "As my daughter, and the daughter of an alpha, I expected better." Her voice dropped, sharper, colder, more dangerous. "No, I demand better." Across the ballroom, AhMarRah laughed at something one of the Lunas said. The sound carried farther than it should have, and somehow, that made everything worse. "So whatever it takes for you to convince Kayel that you are his Luna." Her eyes hardened. "The Luna of Roe Canyon." A dangerous silence settled over the table. Even Aeris's father remained quiet, listening, waiting. "Then that is exactly what you will do." A beat. "Tonight." Aeris heard the seriousness immediately. This wasn't advice, wasn't encouragement, wasn't a suggestion. It was an order. And somewhere deep inside, for the first time all evening, Aeris became afraid. Across the ballroom, AhMarRah quietly looked toward the allied Lunas. The conversation had been warm, unexpectedly warm, but there was one thing she desperately needed: a moment to breathe. "Excuse me, ladies. I need to use the restroom." The women immediately nodded. No questions, no pressure, no objections. And before AhMarRah could even take 3 steps, Karlani appeared beside her, like she had been waiting, which, honestly, she probably had. because chaos loved company. The two women crossed the ballroom together, moving through clusters of guests, past champagne towers, past whispered conversations, past more than one person pretending not to stare. Then, Karlani folded dramatically into herself, laughing. Do you understand that you are literally a viral moment right now? AhMarRah blinked. What? The Lycan magazine has already asked me about my inspiration in styling Roe Canyon tonight. A dangerous grin spread across Karlani's face, the kind that usually meant somebody's feelings were about to get hurt. They asked why Aeris was dressed in electric blue if this was supposedly a Luna announcement ceremony. AhMarRah stopped walking, then immediately started laughing. Real laughter, the kind she couldn't stop. What did you say? Karlani looked deeply pleased with herself. I simply said, a dramatic pause, Aeris is a very strong-willed young lady, and she insisted on the gown she chose to wear tonight. Both women immediately folded, laughing. Hard. Several nearby guests glanced over. Neither cared. You did not. Oh, I absolutely did. The laughter continued all the way toward the restroom corridor. For a few brief moments, the tension disappeared. The politics disappeared. The alliances disappeared. It was just two women laughing. Then, slowly, Karlani's smile softened. She looked toward AhMarRah, more serious now, more honest. Well, AhMarRah looked over. Alpha Kyle loves you. The laughter faded. Not awkwardly, just naturally. What? I've known him for years. I've watched women throw themselves at him. I've watched alphas try to arrange marriages. I've watched Lunas try to introduce daughters. Karlani shook her head. I've never seen him behave like this with any other woman. AhMarRah looked away, toward the ballroom behind them, toward Kyle somewhere in the crowd. And everybody feels the tether. Those words landed differently, because AhMarRah knew she wasn't lying. The allies felt it. The wolves felt it. The room felt it. Something was changing. Something neither of them fully understood yet. The restroom doors appeared ahead. Quiet, private, safe. Or at least, they looked safe. Karlani reached for the door, still smiling, still unaware. Neither woman noticed the pair of eyes watching them disappear inside. Aeris. And somewhere behind that beautiful smile, a very bad decision had already been made. The restroom door shut softly behind them. Contained, quiet, private. For the first time all evening, there were no reporters, no alphas, no politics, no audience. Just AhMarRah and Karlani. The laughter from the ballroom faded behind the door, leaving only silence. Comfortable silence, the kind that comes after a good laugh. You know, if Kyle keeps looking at you like that, we're all gonna have to suffer through a mating ceremony by Christmas. AhMarRah rolled her eyes. Please stop. No. Completely unrepentant. Then, the restroom door opened again. Both women looked up and immediately wished it hadn't. Aeris, followed by 3 of her flunkies. The room changed instantly. The air felt heavier, sharper, dangerous. Well, a pause. Well, well, well. Aeris slowly looked AhMarRah over, from head to toe, judging, measuring, resenting. Look at this thing. Karlani's eyebrow lifted immediately. Interesting. Very interesting. You're nothing more than a lowly Omega. AhMarRah looked up slowly. Calm. Too calm. Which somehow made Aeris even angrier. A temporary distraction. An experiment. A fling at best. Another step forward. When he's done playing with you, he'll run back to a real woman. Oh. Karlani leaned against the counter, crossed her arms, and settled in. This getting good. Aeris ignored her. Big mistake. You really think a man like Kyle would choose someone like you? The restroom grew quieter. Even Aeris's friends looked uncomfortable now, because somewhere deep down, they knew she should stop. She didn't. Nobody can satisfy him the way I can. Silence. Heavy. Absolute. Then something moved. Not in the room. Inside AhMarRah. Something ancient. Something territorial. Something that had been sleeping and was no longer asleep. Rip her damn head off. The voice slammed through AhMarRah's mind so hard she nearly staggered. Raw, violent, possessive. Mine. Mate is mine. The rage rolling through the tether felt volcanic, primal, predatory, ancient. Rip her fucking throat out. AhMarRah swallowed hard, fighting for control, fighting for calm. No. Inside her mind, Gwendolyn snarled. Not here. A breath. Not yet. Unfortunately, Aeris kept talking. You really think Kyle would ever choose someone like... AhMarRah moved. Unfortunately, Aeris kept talking. Big mistake. You really think Kyle would ever choose someone like... AhMarRah moved. Fast. No warning, no hesitation. One hand wrapped around Aeris's throat instantly and lifted, clean off the floor. Gah! Aeris's feet kicked violently through the air. Shock, panic, disbelief. For one horrifying second, she couldn't process what had happened. Then she realized. She couldn't breathe. Her three friends rushed forward immediately, until... Don't. Karlani's claws slid out, slowly, deliberately, ready. The sound alone froze the room. Everybody in Row Canyon knew one thing. Karlani's claws were not decorative. The girls stopped immediately. Smart choice. AhMarRah's eyes shifted. Gold, bright, ancient, terrifying. The restroom became very quiet. Because suddenly, this wasn't a conversation anymore. It was a predator deciding what to do with prey. Please. Then Aeris made the mistake of looking into AhMarRah's eyes. And she saw it. Blood. Bodies. War. Death. An endless battlefield. Wolves tearing through armies. Cities burning. The sky red. And among the dead, she saw herself. Dead. No! A warm stream suddenly rolled down her leg. Her blue gown darkened instantly. Humiliation complete. For one painful second, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Nobody blinked. Then, Karlani covered her mouth, trying and failing not to laugh. Oh my damn. AhMarRah never looked away from Aeris. Not once. "I'm not here for you." Her grip tightened slightly, just enough. "You don't threaten me." Aeris nodded frantically, tears beginning to form. "And I could kill you right here." A beat. Her voice dropped lower, colder, more dangerous, without leaving a mark. Aeris believed her, every word. We're good." AhMarRah held her there 1 second longer, long enough for the lesson to sink in. Then she released her. Aeris crashed onto the floor, hard, into the puddle she created, shaking, humiliated, broken, destroyed. AhMarRah looked down at her, cold, unmoved, unafraid. "Don't come near me again." Silence. Heavy. Absolute. Then AhMarRah turned and walked away. "Girl." Karlani stared down at Aeris 1 final second, then followed AhMarRah out, laughing under her breath, leaving Aeris and her friends alone in the restroom, alone with the smell of fear, and the realization that something inside AhMarRah was far more dangerous than any of them had imagined. The restroom door opened, and AhMarRah stepped out. Calm, collected, as if nothing had happened. Karlani followed behind her, trying and failing not to laugh. "Girl!" AhMarRah didn't answer. She simply continued walking, back toward the ballroom, back toward the Alliance, back toward the wolves, back toward him. The moment she crossed the threshold, something shifted. Across the ballroom, Kyle stopped mid-conversation, instantly. His head turned. His eyes found her, immediately. No searching, no hesitation, no doubt. The tether snapped tight, like a wire pulled between them. Drayvon calmed at once. The restless agitation he'd been carrying all evening disappeared. Because she was back. Safe. Whole. Close. Several nearby alphas noticed. Stan noticed. Czar noticed. Jake definitely noticed. Even Leo's eyes shifted briefly toward Roe Canyon's alpha, watching, observing, understanding. "There you are." The words were quiet, meant only for her. But AhMarRah felt them anyway, felt the relief behind them, the possessiveness, the concern, the certainty. "You were gone too long." Karlani immediately looked away, because that wasn't a sentence. That was a mate complaint, and everybody knew it. "I was in the restroom." He didn't sound convinced, not even a little. Then he reached for her hand and took it, like it belonged there, like he'd been holding it all evening, like he'd hold it for the rest of the night. The ballroom saw it. The allied alphas saw it. The Luna Council saw it. Lycan Magazine definitely saw it. Somewhere in the room, a camera flashed. Then another. Then another. Nobody said anything, because nobody needed to. The truth had become impossible to ignore. The matching colors, the tether, the way they looked at each other, the way they found each other, the way the room disappeared whenever they stood together. Not politics, not strategy, not alliance. Something older, something deeper, something wolves understood immediately. Across the ballroom, one voice finally spoke what everyone else had been thinking. That's his mate. Silence followed. Not shocked silence. Certain silence. Agreement. Recognition. Truth. And standing beside Kyle, hand still in his, AhMarRah suddenly realized every eye in the room had already reached the same conclusion, whether she was ready for it or not.
You were gone too long tonight.
If you're loving what you see so far, drop a red heart in the comments. Like this episode, share it with your favorite drama lover, and subscribe to Velvet Fang Stories. Then click the bell and turn on all notifications so you never miss a new episode. Because the danger, the secrets, and the heat are only getting started.